Salut à tous, bande de vampires. On se retrouve pour la suite de nos aventures dans le monde de la Transilvanie. Avec un joli petit temps de chargement. Qu'est-ce qu'on va bien pouvoir avoir dans cette aventure? Ah, 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 ah. Oh, putain, il pourrait pénétrer dans le Prem Block Hospital. Bien, chef.
Come on, you bastard! You can do better than that! Nah! It's my turn!
De toute façon, c'est chiant pour y aller.
Rotten all pristine, each heart
Les
contains the sea.
graines de la vie.
Drink at this river, dry it all.
Oui, je peux le bouffer. J'ai faim.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite!
Non, mais moi,
Please.
oui.
You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Ah oui. Reste poli,
Insulting a
connard.
good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Beaucoup plus tranquille. Qualité du sang. Cool. C'est cool.
Bring this
On lui fait
light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
On lui a fait du charme, le petit. On l'a dragué. Un pauvre. Lâche-toi,
In the back, you bastard! Didn't have the guts to fuck me. Fuck you. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
on le bouffe, hein, c'est mort. Le pauvre enfoiré. Shit. Ouais. Mais on la somme. Ça. Bim! On peut tirer et tuer. À un moment donné, on pourrait les améliorer les armes. Je vais user ça. Bim! La faute de la mort qui tue. Machette. Ça, c'est une courte. Oh, mais on pourra améliorer.
To taste a life, to embrace its most intimate secrets. Such a burden, such a divine sin.
Le monstre! Un monstre! Il est un monstre!
Hurry now, Doctor. It's freezing here.
Ouais.
Doctor, where have you been?
Cinématique.
I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and
Très
strangest
long,
night
ça
of my
c'est
life.
sûr.
You delivered poor Mr. Hampton from a terrible fate. The means to that end should be of little concern, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first.
Ouais. Question. Réponse.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in. How does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
Un état de merde. Tu peux le dire, cochonne.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Yep. Un boudon. D'accord. Non, je demande stack après sa carte. Après examen. Voilà. Y a rien du tout
Good evening,
pour
sir.
améliorer.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed.
Good.
I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Fais voir le bignou. Fais voir. Alors on a quoi en... Fusil de 1000 tonnes. Ouh, fusil. Des barres. Ça sera pratique ça. Tout ça. Touche sans pour le para ça doit être ça. Ta mère. Ta mère, je t'ai dit. Oh non, bon. D'accord. Supprimé commun. Traité par une poignée commune pour armes au corps à corps. Je prends note ça. Sous gâchette commune. Sous gâchette pour utiliser les cheveux là, aux armes à longue portée. C'est. Ok, là on a des toiles là-dedans. Main. Tu veux ça? Je te lance ça, connard. Voilà. Oui, c'est un. Bon. Je tiens, d'accord. Ok. Alors, du coup, il faut pas ça. Ok. Une simple vis de métal pour être utilisée dans le mécanisme d'une arme à longue portée. Non, pas de longue portée. Une petite puissance discrète pour utiliser pour huiler le mécanisme d'une arme à longue portée. Ah si, on a le flingue. Ouais, shit. Ouais. On a acheté plusieurs. Ah tiens, prendre le gourdin pour la soumis. Hihi. Merde, toi aussi. Canard. Beaucoup de balles. Oui, c'est petit, mais oui. Et bon. Ah oui, ça, on peut vendre la camionnette. Hihihi. Oublié. Comment du coup, je peux t'acheter ou le fusil? Non, trop cher. Regarde ça. J'ai plus assez. Mauvaise touche. Ok, là-dedans. Ok, ouais, bon, on l'a bouffé. Ok. C'était bien. Ouais, bon, c'est vrai, il faut le fabriquer. Des mines de munitions. Vas-y, on veut tester le gun. J'ai 2 balles. 2 balles. Niveau 2. Ah oui, d'accord, si j'ai un ressort, ça peut faire mieux, d'accord. Ok. Donc on a des tiges de plomb, des petits morceaux de poignée communs. Ok, d'accord. On trouve davantage le truc. Ouais, voilà, du coup des morceaux de gâchette commune et des ressorts. Ah, combien? C'est champignon. 3? On en a qu'une. Lui. Bah, il y a 3 morceaux de poignée, d'accord. Ouais, cher payé, mon petit. C'est cher payé. Au fur et à mesure les trucs. Trouver les trucs. Non. Bon, après, au fur et à mesure, on va
Dr. Swansea is
acheter
right.
les trucs. Donc,
This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
You at our side, Dr. Reed.
Merde
I know
là-dedans?
that
Non,
Pembroke will
merde.
prevail and survive this epidemic.
Non. Merveille. Non, ouais, je... Non. Alors, on se retrouve après un petit souci technique. Bref. Grippe. Intéressant. Sans plein des queues des grippeux. Et fait le poubelle, des bises, des trucs de poule. C'est qu'il y a des choses de passer. Il faut davantage. Un coffre.
It's locked. I'm sure that you...
Verrouillé.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be
Je
Dr.
suis plus
Rakesh
docteur, mais oui, je l'ai été.
Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so
Bon, petit souci technique de
These
nouveau.
bodies are empty vessels.
Je sais pas ce qui se
Flesh
passe
left to
aujourd'hui.
decay.
Et bon, on est de
No
nouveau là.
soul anymore. All gone.
Donc on peut bien y aller. Bien loin.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for
J'espère
dead
qu'on pourra le
flesh.
bouffer
Sir.
pour la peine.
As a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker
Ouais, il
down by the
parlait,
docks.
ce serait bien de parler aussi ceux qui
A
ont des armes de
dangerous
danger.
place with
Beaucoup
many
d'hommes
an
sur
unpleasant
le pour le
business.
bouffer. Bah, quand même.
Milton Hooks helped me
Ceux
get
qui
a
vendent
job here.
l'équipement, ce serait con. Ouais, pas.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Pourquoi fais-tu bien?
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Les pauvres.
Why do you
Dans
have
la
to
fosse,
watch
les
these
pauvres.
bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Je l'ai bouffé. Oui. Je l'ai un peu bouffé. Hein.
A pawnbroker?
Donc,
I
ouais, elle
expect to
était
get
pas très
all
heureuse de
types
mon
of
truc, j'ai un
people
peu
here.
bouffé.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And
Docteur.
all my clients are
Oh,
good
ouais.
people. In fact, I think I
Docteur,
only know good
docteur, je sais
people.
pas quoi. Hein. On est d'accord. Hein.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Compassion n'est pas
Believe
éternelle.
goodwill cannot last.
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
Ouais, il y croit, lui, ferme-moi, enculé.
So you're ready to die?
No, I'm not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a
T'inquiète
wise
pas
man.
pour tes proches.
No, Doctor,
Ils vont te finir dans mon estomac.
but I like to think otherwise.
Do you need medical attention?
I'm feeling all right, Doctor. But perhaps it is because I, too, am used to the smell of the dead.
Intéressant. Buté du coup. Ah, il y en a lui aussi. Lui qu'on a. Ouais. Lui, bah du coup on l'a bien découvert. Lui. Et lui non, peut-être pas. Trop. Ouais.
Please show me what you have
Peut-être
to
un
sell.
peu à voir ce qu'il a avant.
It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Oui, mais là peut-être pas ce que c'est. Ouais, non, on va pas le bouffer. Non, pas tout de suite en tout cas. J'ai bien le pas tout de suite. Le petit pas tout de suite qui fait plaisir. Ok. Casse. Pareil, on a la joie.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd.
T'as
Welcome
l'air
aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Ok, je te bute. Je te bute, mon pote.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
You are going to change your tone with me, my dear colleague, and very quickly.
I don't think so. Perhaps you think yourself protected by Dr. Swansea, but I am still a free man, and I will speak to you the way I want.
D'accord, très bien.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has
Je
become...
crois que lui, on va le bouffer.
Careless.
Vraiment.
Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Ah, nouvel indice. Je vide la bouffe.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't
Ouais,
question
je
your
suis supérieur à
skills,
toi,
Dr.
mec.
Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame,
Oui.
or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative, it is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
Bon, on va faire l'autre choix. Hein.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
On est d'accord. On est d'accord sur ça.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to gaining people's trust with your impressive skills. Well, it will not be the case with me.
TP. D'accord, moi je suis 1 et lui il est 4. Donc ça ne marcherait pas de charmer. Bah, au revoir.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
You always knew the words to calm the children,
Parlez toi.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune.
XP.
Such an
Et de
honor, sir.
histoire en parlant, c'est pas mal.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland.
Docteur
I'm a
Strickland.
great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Je suis votre cashbot.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
Info.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method.
Mon maître.
What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical.
Intéressant. Découvre le cœur des docks.
You may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Le savoir, c'est la vie.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your
Hey,
arrival, I
Fishbot.
can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood
Putain de
transfusion.
fishbot.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Investigation locale. Nouvelle enquête sur les citoyens est disponible. D'accord. Intéressant. Intéressant.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these
Un suceur de
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the
D'accord,
first
mais
wave of the
ça,
epidemic, I
d'accord.
used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of
De
impartiality.
professionnalisme.
You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
D'accord, on a fait tout, ok. Là on a encore autre.
Goodbye, Dr.
Ah
Strickland.
merde. Faire plus. Ta gueule, ça va rien
Good
parler.
evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Les détails, une santé. D'accord.
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
Bon bah, au revoir.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Bon sang, du sang. D'être inachevé. Ah, il est mort, je peux voir. Détail. Non, non. Non, 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 non. Non. Oui. Ok, ben on a bien inspecté le tout.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
Le
I
patient.
see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter. And a good one, too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
C'est sûr, mon Dieu. C'est sûr.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids.
Merde.
We never found her body.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
Ouais, tu l'as dit.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army.
Royal Flying
for the Royal
Corps.
Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
Elle vient de t'apporter à bouffer.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Ouais, pauvre gosse.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Ellen didn't bring them with her that night.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see
Ah
you later.
merde. Ah ouais, on connaît la totalité. Ah, je peux parler.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Nope, maybe.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place, I should consider myself lucky, I guess.
Qui va finir dans mon ventre. À table. Ils s'en sortir donc à table.
All I wanted was to go back to work, to take care of my children.
Miam miam, à table. Et...
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
On a bien bouffé le petit. Miam miam miam.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Bah, tu vas quand même parler.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Oh, connard.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Je t'ai donné des médocs, enculé.
I'll let you get some rest, then.
I'm alright.
Enculé.
Waste your time with me.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm
Qu'est-ce que je
Beatrice
peux pour lui?
Goswick, mother
Qu'est-ce
of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the
Pour le
expenses.
fric.
That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband.
That's
May he rest in
Payer
peace.
tous les frais
I can
médicaux.
cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Comme ça.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of
Ouais.
emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Ouais, bon.
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
I have other concerns right now, Doctor. But I'm fine, thank you.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
que le médoc a fait effet.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me.
Ce qui est de mieux pour moi. Je continuerai ce qui était tant que je n'irai pas bien.
She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of.
Vous savez pas non
She would
plus,
tie
moi, de...
herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Vous savez pas
Pembroke
non plus de
Hospital may
quoi...
look unorthodox, but rest assured you're
De
in
quoi
good
moi
hands.
je suis
It's not
capable.
me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Donc il a dit que vous deviez dégager.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the
Merci pour le
situation.
pognon. Merci.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Non, c'est sûr.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Au revoir, madame. Ambulancier, lui. Elle, qui peut l'ouvrir.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just
C'était
returned to
rapide.
England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Salope.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Tell me, Waverley, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients'
Prends ça dans tes dents.
pride and glory.
Évidemment, il dit
Now
ça.
that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual
Il est
procedure.
un peu mort,
My
connard.
young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
Pas contre le son. Non, c'est...
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Bien, vas-y, si je peux le croquer. Si je te suis fort pour le croquer là maintenant. Hein, c'est quoi ça, putain? J'en ai marre. Donc,
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
non, on est pas si fort.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. Affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Sad.
Allez, cinglé! Je peux le croquer, ça fera plaisir.
You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality.
Oh,
and
vous
you
avez
think
pas idée,
it is
sale
I
pute.
who am delusional.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover to hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies?
Des ennemis?
Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal, but do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
Oh, such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Non, j'en ai pas le moindre idée.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed. Blood is the only drug I need.
Elle est 2, je suis 1. Ouais. Donc, on va aller voir un peu plus de choses.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
De l'XP. C'est bien l'XP. Fouille. Bouteille. Non, ça ne m'intéresse pas des masses. Continuons d'explorer un petit peu. Pas grand chose. Ah tiens, passe vite, passe vite.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet.
Vous la trouver,
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and
c'est sûr, c'est
You're
grave.
running out of everything.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
Pas t'inquiéter.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy?
Les
Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
Nouvel indice, Milton, mauvaise réputation près de ses collègues. Donc, il trouve que nous vend des trucs, donc non. Désolé.
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned. Milton is not the chatty type.
Ouais, pas dans ici. Tenter 3-1.
Do you need medical help yourself, nurse?
I'm fine, really. I just need to sleep.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No.
Oh putain, la
I don't
tronche.
think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off.
Ça, je
But they
confirme.
still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Soulagé, mec.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
Ah, il
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Ah, t'as... Je te rassure, non.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Tu m'offenses pas du tout, mec.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Tiens, je te donne quelque chose. Je te donne quelque chose, t'en fais pas. s'excite.
So this is how it ends. Farewell, my life, you betrayed me, good.
Bon bah, il avait mal, on l'a aidé, hein. Il était souffrant, on l'a juste aidé un petit peu.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Oh, le vilain. Il est vilain.
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone.
Moi, je
You're a hero, Mr. Hampton.
Pas mourant.
Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Petite merde.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Do you know Tom Watts? The bartender from the Turtle. I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Oh, t'es trop gentil.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around
you.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest, and then I can go back to the people who need me.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Merde.
Goodbye, Mr.
Peut pas le bouffer.
Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Merde. Bouffer.
I cannot enter.
Merde. Peut pas le bouffer.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Tell me, Fiona, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond.
Je le suce.
We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Ah, avier parce que je l'ai buté.
How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
C'est dommage.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed. Blood is the only drug I need.
Je peux. Non, tant pis.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wish I could be sick again. Feel my blood boil with the fever.
Cinglé. Carte. Marchand. Il y a un autre marchand dans le coin. De côté, derrière. On a quoi là? D'accord. Bouffer. Bouffer. Je compte la bouffer. Je pense que je compte le bouffer. Je compte le bouffer. Non, lui, il nous donne des médicaments. Non, elle, oui. Lui, plus tard, en effet. Lui, oui. 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 Quasiment tout le monde, ouais. Intéressant. Est-ce que j'ai une petite merde? Non. Ah oui, on a des trucs avant. Non, de une paire de coups. Ouais, mais j'ai jamais réussi à y aller, ce repère. Bon, peut-être qu'après, je peux y aller. Il y a le principal. Ah, je voulais faire. Et l'autre, elle est où l'enquête? Ah, d'accord. Ah, ça, on est pas loin. Et maintenant que j'ai tout un tas de bordel, je peux peut-être faire des merdes. Les pauvres. Même pas. Même pas. Même pas. Et même pas. Je t'entends, je sais plus parler déjà.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good
Ah,
evening,
si, je vais
Dr.
pas.
Reed.
Si, je vais parler.
Goodbye.
Si, je vais parler, vas-y. Lui aussi, machin, ouais. Pas trop tout le monde.
Come now, we can handle this.
Tout le monde. Ouais. Pharmacie. On va aller à la pharmacie. J'ai pris ma carte vitale, vous inquiétez pas. C'est mes gros, ma carte vitale.
Last warning, sir! It's one of them!
Qu'est-ce que vous avez à me faire chier? Ouf, des...
Filthy piece of shit!
Attends, je peux pas m'équiper du gun. M'équiper du gun, moi, je vais tester mon gun. Enculé. Non, c'est pas là. Ah, équipé. Voilà, plus de balles. Oh, j'étais mort. Ça m'est dur, mais... Oh, vas-y. T'es mort, connard. Merde. Voilà. Je vais m'emmerder. Le clé d'aluminium, fluide de bière, machin, tout peu. Ah putain, qu'est-ce qu'ils sont casse-pions. Je crois que je les ai butés, ceux qui voulaient faire chier la ville. Non. On a les super pouvoirs de les tuer, donc on les tue. Hein.
Steady, boys! We've got
Raté. Voilà. Bravo. J'aime bien cette arme. Elle est puissante. putain, on est mort. Là, c'est un peu de la merde. C'est génial, mais c'est de la merde à fond. Incroyable. De là! Important. Aussi. À table! Oh, je l'ai tué en le bouffant. Là, ça a plus vite tout pour là. Tout ça. C'est vraiment de merde, ça. Manger. On tue. Elle m'emmerde. Putain, casse. À ma distance. Équipez vous dans la distance, puis appuyez sur Y pour utiliser les dégâts standard. Bientôt, c'est une amélioration. Ouais. Ouais. Ah si, bon, c'est... Pharmacie, c'est pas en pharmacie. C'est pas en pharmacie. Manger, manger, manger. Approche. Oh putain. On n'a pas de niveau, clairement. On n'a pas le niveau. Ouais, on n'a clairement pas le niveau. Ben on va rester là.